One of my children, when my husband told them about what happened to Renee Good, the first thing he said was, "I don't want mommy to get shot when she's out protecting people." That's what our kids are living through. Whether they are targeted themselves or watching their neighborhood and community be targeted, this is a trauma that's happening to all of our children.
I'm an Iraq vet. I have a service animal because I have PTSD and I need him, and I'm here to protect my people, the people of Minnesota. I'm so sick and tired of the hate.
Minnesota is on edge. Streets filled with anger, mothers in tears, children in fear, and federal agents are firing chemical irritants into crowds. An anti-ICE protest in Minnesota turned chaotic after the federal agents used chemical irritants on the protesting crowd outside the Bishop Henry Whipple Federal. This after anti-ICE and pro-ICE protesters gathered, screaming insults, waving signs, and confronting each other face to face. A right-wing counter-protester, Jake Lang, held a sign reading, "We love ICE." On a microphone, he shouted, "We need you, President Trump." He was immediately surrounded by protesters holding signs for Renee Good.
And we need to follow our faith leaders who are saying this isn't right, and we need to protect our immigrant communities. That's what our nation is. Sorry. My family were immigrants. All of our families were immigrants, unless we're Native American. So I think we need to start acting like it. And I think people who are too scared to say anything or come out and say something need to do so.
Meanwhile, mothers, children, families, and active community members were gathered in a Minnesota park for a rally against ICE. ICE out, burn ICE, signs and placards were seen all around in the Minnesota vicinity. The outrage continues after an ICE agent killed a 37-year-old Minneapolis resident, Renee Good, on January 7th. At the rally, a concerned mother emotionally said, "I don't want mommy to get shot."
There are kids who have lost a family member, who are completely traumatized, who are terrified every day, who can't leave their houses other than to go to school. And now our kids we have to, as parents, we keep having to explain these tragedies to them.
The way I think about this is I'm scared for all of us right now. Certainly the impacts on my immigrant family and immigrant neighbors are terrifying, but we're also living in a time, this is collective trauma for all of us. And so I certainly worry about my kids, but I worry about all of our babies, because that's the kind of community we are here in Minneapolis, where we take care of each other.
As night falls, the anger does not stop. Protesters flooded the streets outside hotels hosting federal agents, chanting, "Abolish ICE, no races, only humans." Meanwhile, Renee Good's wife, Becca Good, breaks her silence. She said Renee was pure sunshine. She said that they stopped to support neighbors, while officers came with guns. Becca told NPR that Renee lived by an overarching belief: there is kindness in the world, and we need to do everything we can to find it where it resides and nurture it where it needs to grow. In a post, Becca wrote, "Renee was a Christian who knew that all religions teach the same essential truth. We are here to love each other, care for each other, and keep each other safe and whole."
want to come at us?
Meanwhile,
I say go
another
get yourself
video
some lunch,
captured
big boy.
by an ICE
Okay.
agent came to light, showing the confrontation that ended Renee's good
out of the
life.
Whoa!
That's okay, we don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the car. Whoa!
This is the new video of the deadly shooting by an ICE agent killing a 37-year-old woman, Renee Good, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, on January 7th, 2026.
This guy has a gun. They're firing guns.
Her fatal killing has triggered massive protests across America, keeping the country on edge. But now, this video, captured by the ICE agent who fired the shots, reveals the final moments of Good's confrontation with Jonathan Ross before the shootout.
You want to come at us? I say go get
The new 47-second video was published online by a Minnesota-based conservative news site, Alpha News. It shows the immigration officer approaching Good's vehicle in the middle of the road with sirens blaring in the background. Amid the confrontation with Good, her wife can also be seen recording the encounter, walking around the vehicle and approaching the officer. What followed was a series of heated exchanges. "That's fine, I'm not mad at you," says Good as the officer passes by her door. She has one hand on the steering wheel and the other outside the open driver's side window. Her wife can be heard saying, "U.S. citizen, former f***ing veteran," standing outside the passenger side of the SUV holding up her phone.
You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy.
She then said, "You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy."
Out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Other officers at the scene also approached the driver's side of the car at about the same time, and one said, "Get out of the car, get out of the f***ing car." Good then reverses briefly and turns the steering wheel toward the passenger side as she drives ahead, and Ross opens fire.
Whoa!
The camera becomes unsteady and points toward the sky, then returns to the street view, showing Good's SUV careening away. Someone at the scene says. A crashing sound was then heard as Good's vehicle smashed into other vehicles parked on the street. This new video came to light after the prosecutor requested additional video and evidence amid widespread nationwide protests across the United States.
That's okay, we don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Good's wife, Becca Good, released a statement to Minnesota Public Radio on Friday. Becca Good said, "Kindness radiated out of her." She added that they stopped to support our neighbors. Under an ICE policy directive, officers and agents are expected to activate body-worn cameras at the start of enforcement activities and to record throughout interactions, and footage must be kept for review in serious incidents such as deaths or use of force cases. The Department of Homeland Security has not responded to questions about whether the officer who opened fire or any of the others who were on the scene were wearing body cameras. The Associated Press reported that Good was an Iraq War veteran who had served for nearly 2 decades in the Border Patrol and ICE. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump, Department of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and others have repeatedly characterized the Minneapolis shooting as an act of self-defense and cast Good as a villain. They have been suggesting that Good used her vehicle as a weapon to attack the officer who shot her.
Minnesota, the vice president yesterday suggested that Renee Good, who was killed by this ICE officer, was part of a broad left-wing network. What has your team told you about this broad left-wing network? Who is in charge of it? Who's part of it? What's it called?
Well, I haven't seen the vice president's statement, but he's generally very accurate. I hate to say, I watched that yesterday, and there are a lot of different forms to it. But there was a woman screaming, "Shame, shame, shame, shame." She was a agitator, probably a paid agitator, but in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional. She wouldn't stop screaming. I said, this isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker. Because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this, the news sort of turned her down, turned her off, because you're trying to watch. She was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and the same words. So, I guess you could say professional, but I didn't think she did a very good job. You have agitators, and we will always be protecting ICE, and we're always going to be protecting our Border Patrol and our law enforcement.
The state officials there have said that the FBI is not sharing evidence with them. Typically, they would conduct a joint investigation, as you know. Do you believe that the FBI should be sharing evidence with state officials in Minnesota?
Well, normally I would, but they're crooked officials. I mean, Minneapolis and Minnesota, what a beautiful place, but it's being destroyed. It's got an incompetent governor, fool. I mean, he's a stupid person. And it looks like the number could be $19 billion stolen from a lot of people, but largely people from Somalia. They buy their vote. They vote in a group. They buy their vote. They sell more Mercedes-Benzes in that area than almost. Can you imagine you come over with no money and then shortly thereafter you're driving a Mercedes-Benz? The whole thing is ridiculous. So they're very corrupt people. It's a very corrupt state. I feel that I won Minnesota. I think I won it all 3 times. Nobody's won it since Richard Nixon won it many, many years ago. I won it all 3 times, in my opinion. And it's a corrupt state, a corrupt voting state. And the Republicans ought to get smart and demand on voter ID. They ought to demand maybe same-day voting and all of the other things that you have to safe election. But I won Minnesota 3 times, and I didn't get credit for it. I did so well in that state every time. The people were crying every time after. That's a crooked state. California is a crooked state. Many crooked states. We have a very, very dishonest voting system. The last time I won, 24, the one that just took place, I won because it was too big to rig. You couldn't rig it. It was too big. But I won the state of Minnesota. It's a corrupt voting system with an incompetent governor, a very incompetent governor.
Good's death, at least the 5th tied to immigration sweeps since President Trump took office last year, has resonated far beyond Minneapolis, with protests reportedly planned for this weekend. Another separate shooting in Portland, Oregon a day later by the Border Patrol has also set off protests in multiple cities and denunciations of immigration enforcement tactics by the U.S. government.